The very essence of the mental game is this. The only reason an event matters is because we make it matter.
Welcome to the Mullins Farrier podcast.
My name is Todd Walker.
I'm Sarah Mary Brown.
My name's Hayden Price.
I am Megan Coyle.
Hi, I'm Connor Sloman.
My name's Ashley Sloman.
Hi, I'm Derek Popewad.
Daniel Jones.
My name is Ellie Mae Watkins.
Jim Blurton. I'm from Welshpool in Wales.
This is a special bonus episode available to everyone. To support the podcast and for access to the full-length episodes, please subscribe using the link in the show notes below. And as always, if you are an apprentice or just can't afford the subscription, the generous folks at Out West Fabrication and Design are supporting the podcast by covering our scholarship subscriptions. If you're in this camp, just reach out to me on Facebook Messenger and we'll get you sorted.
Most people that I know in this industry only want the best for the other people in the industry, which is a pretty cool thing.
Welcome, everyone. This one will be a full access episode to everyone to help support the Ontario Farriers Association and all of their efforts. The executive of the OFA put in a lot of effort every year to host or support events that add a lot of value to their members. You can look up more information about the OFA and their events at ontariofarriers.ca. If you have had any interactions with Farrier Facebook, today's guest will be no stranger to you. Mike Mehak has been a guest on the podcast in the past, so you can find his backstory in that episode. Mike and I talk probably at least once a week, and the exchange always leaves me laughing. Mike's self-deprecating sense of humor can lighten anyone's day. As Mike is the president of the OFA, I thought the timing of this would be great to discuss a big event coming up on November 12th, the Royal Canadian Horseshoeing Classic at the Royal Winter Fair in Toronto, Canada. We also discuss all things horseshoeing and Mike's technique for keeping the voices in his head at bay. I should mention here that throughout the podcast, while we are at times moaning about some undesirable client behaviors, these do not reflect the actions of the majority of our clients. As is the nature of many farrier-to-farrier calls, we discuss those outliers because they are the ones that tend to inhabit the majority of our mental space. I'm sure Mike would agree with me in saying that most of our clients are fantastic horse owners, and we are fortunate to have them on our books. I just felt that needed to be clarified. It is always a pleasure to chat with this fellow, and I'm excited to share it with you. I hope you enjoy the conversation as much as I did.
Hello.
Hello. How's it going?
Pretty good. How about yourself?
Good, thank you. What are you up to today? What's the big plan for the day?
I'm finishing our display for the the Ontario Farriers Association display.
Okay.
And take my daughter home, and that's it.
Okay, gotcha.
Well, I'm sure there'll be other stuff, but that's the stuff I have to do.
Right. So do you guys actually have a booth at the Royal as well as the competition?
We don't have a booth, but we have a educational display that's set up in the educational area for the 10 days.
Oh, cool.
So it's basically a giant shoe board table with a bunch of different type of shoes of the Royal with little descriptions of that shoe, the history of that shoe, and what they're used for.
That's cool.
Yeah.
I guess that leads into the big event coming up for you guys.
Yeah, the Royal's huge.
Yeah. How many competitors do you have lined up?
We are full. I've had a waiting list this year of people, which is good.
What did you cap it out at?
I'd have to check that.
Oh, okay.
But it is full.
Cool.
But yeah, it's one of those events where, like the Royal in general, it's not, I mean, there is good prize money for this, but just the Royal in general is a very special event. It's just a cool, different thing that has its own kind of appeal to it.
Yeah, it's really cool that you guys managed to get those two things linked up.
Yeah, that was just, everybody's like, oh, they'll never allow that. And it doesn't hurt to ask. We'll just ask. And then if they say no, and then we ask, like, yeah, that sounds really cool.
Okay.
Let's have our meeting. And then, so went to a meeting, like, at the Royal. There was their educational director. There was all these different people. Their mechanical engineer, their fire safety person, all this stuff. And I'm like, there's no way they're going to agree to this. So, yeah, we could do this. Let's do it and try it. So, yeah, we tried it. And the first half day of the very first one was a bit shaky because it got really smoky and we're next to the food court.
Oh, okay.
But once
yeah.
they figured out the HVAC system, it's been clean. Like you can tell there's something going on in there, but it hasn't been bad enough for them not to invite us back.
Cool. And this is the third one now?
This will be the third one, yeah.
And I see you have Ben judging it, Ben Mangan.
Yeah. So usually what we've been trying to do is take the last year's winner and have them judge the next one.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Cool.
And yeah, we did switch the format a bit. So yeah, we have 16 in total competitors because that works out station-wise. We don't want to add too many stations and then smoke ourselves out. Like we've been trying to keep it reasonable so we can keep coming back.
Mhm.
And then we have a national division and an international division. So that way people that have competed on a team or on the team competing on that international scale have their own division. But if you haven't competed on a team in 10 years or something, you can compete in the lesser division and still have a chance.
Cool. That's really neat. It's just divided into those two divisions. You don't have...
Those two divisions, yeah.
Oh, okay.
We didn't do a beginner division because it's all in Coke. It's pretty intense.
Yeah.
It makes for better watching for people coming through the theater.
Yeah, that all makes sense. Cool. And so what other events do you guys have coming up or you have done recently that people need to be aware of?
We just finished the fall convention and contest. We did that in Niagara at the Niagara Fairgrounds. I'm kind of selfish. I liked it there because it's 10 minutes from my house,
Yep.
which makes life a lot easier because I still have some equipment trailers stored there. And because I know them, they're like, yeah, just pick it up when you want. And I could go there ahead of time and drop stuff off. And I know the girls that run the fair, so they're really helpful. And it just makes life easier.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just finished that. It was like an all-Canadian lineup this year. We had Chad come out. Chad was great.
Chad Lawson. Yep.
Yeah, sorry. Chad was great. He's very down to earth. He runs a busy practice. He has competed. He's just a very well-rounded guy to
Yeah.
have out.
No kidding.
And then
And you had
he
Kaylee
judged
too,
our
right?
contest. Yeah, and then we had Kaylee, which was awesome because he's another well-rounded person. She's a great educator. There's a lot about anatomy, but she's not dry about it. She makes it fun.
Okay.
So that was like a really great mix of clinicians to have. And yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Cool. Nice.
We did another thing this year for the first time, which worked out really well. We have our intro class for competing. So Mike Smith judged that. But rather than him just being a judge, he basically took all those competitors by the hand and walked them through the whole contest, from doing the demos right before that class to telling them where they need to be, what they need to do. So it basically took all that overwhelming
Yeah.
stuff you get from going to a contest. I don't know what to do. I don't know where to set up. I don't know where to be. I don't know what any of this means. And it just, all they had to do was do their shoes. Kind of all the stress was taken away. And that was actually really successful. And when you're planning a contest, it's easy to think, oh, the intro's not that important, but it really is the most important part of a contest
Yeah.
because those are the people that are going to keep it going
Exactly.
in 5, 10, 15 years from now.
Yeah, no kidding.
So yeah, I'm hoping to do that again, and I'm hoping Mike Smith does that again because that was a huge help.
Cool. Yeah, and he'd be a great guy for doing that. He loves
Yeah.
teaching.
Yeah, he's just naturally good at helping people with that.
Yeah, and encouraging them.
Yeah, he's very encouraging.
So all of this must require a bunch of your time.
It is a ridiculous amount of time.
So why do you do it all, Mike?
That is the question that I often ask myself, especially leading up to an event. I'm like, why am I doing this? Like, I could be catching up on my own work. I could be doing stuff at home. I could be doing any number of things. I could not be awake at 12 o'clock at night trying to figure out the website or something like that.
Right.
But then you get to that event and it's crazy. But eventually you get to a point where you can stop and see everybody just enjoying it. And it's usually after the event when everybody's just talking and hanging out and having a really good time. And I think that's what makes it worth it. Because realizing that we're all the same, we're all doing the same, that is what keeps us going in this industry, especially in a summer where it's just, you're just getting beat up in every direction from clients and horses and flies and busy schedules, and you feel like you must be doing something wrong because this sucks. And then you go to an event like that and you realize, hey, this sucks for everybody. It's not actually that bad.
Yeah.
And I think that's what makes it worth it. I think those couple hours at the night of an event, after event, in the bar after, wherever it is, seeing everybody just hanging out and getting along, whether they're there competing or they're never going to compete and they're just there for the clinic, everybody realizing that they were all just the same people going out there and shoeing horses every day, trying to make a living.
Yep. Yep, for sure. So that leads pretty easily. We've had this discussion a couple times over the summer, but what has your summer been like? What have the feet been like? What has the general feel been?
This was a tough summer on feet. I think it was not the greatest weather. Some areas seemed to have rain, some areas didn't have rain. There was a lot of hard ground. I think the show struggled with their surface a bunch this year.
Yeah, I found that too.
So probably had more horses in pads than normal, more little hiccups than normal. Horse feet in aluminum maybe did a bit worse this year. Like a lot of the hunters I found, just the flies were really bad this year, but I think we just say that every year. Like, this is the worst year for flies. I think it's just flies suck, period.
Yeah,
you know?
you're right. Yeah.
But yeah, it was a tough year on feet.
Yeah, I've never used so much glue
Yeah.
as I have this year.
The show schedule was better this year. I think because Ontario got introduced to having nonstop shows with the Angel Stone Palgrave thing is kind of new. So there was just like a show nonstop.
Yeah.
The first couple of years, it was just stupid. By August, all the horses were broke down and sore, and people were just pushing them so hard. I found this year either they got smarter or just financially they couldn't do it, but people didn't push their horses as hard this year.
Right.
There were shows where I expected them to be at for the week and they weren't. So in that sense, I do think it was better this year, but summer is hard no matter what, especially in a place like this, because you have, I don't know how many months it is, but 6 or 7 months to do most of your showing. And that's when they do most of their showing. So they want to be able to show all through those months. They don't want to hear, hey, maybe we just give the feet a break for a couple weeks.
Yeah.
It's not an option.
Yeah. And for those who don't know, a lot of them are chasing points in order to qualify for the Royal Winter Fair.
Yeah.
Where your contest is going to be. Yeah, I find that it's amazing how driven people are. Like, I have some clients where their horses are suffering and they are so concerned about getting to the Royal that takes a back seat to it, which I find that really hard as a farrier. Because, I mean, we're there for the horses. The clients sign the checks, but we know or see what the horses are going through. And when somebody is more focused on getting that ribbon at that final show than the welfare of their horse, I have really struggled with that this year.
Yeah, it's frustrating. And people always say they want what's best for the horse, but they want what makes them feel best for the horse.
Yep.
What makes them feel best for the horse is going to the Royal or allowing their Lemonetic horse to go out on grass every day. They don't actually want the hard truths of what's going to be best for that horse, whether it's time off or not going out on grass or maybe skipping that show tomorrow because your horse is pretty sore because he stepped on a nail yesterday, and like, no, we're going to put a pad on and the vet says we'll give him some drugs and we'll be fine, and off they go. So
right. Now, do you ever have that? I've struggled with whether or not it's my place to actually say it, but have you ever had that conversation with clients where you just say, listen, these feet are not going to take what you want to do next week, or like they actually do need that break? Do you ever have that conversation, or do you kind of leave that to the vets and avoid
The problem with me is I don't particularly like to have confrontation. I'd rather not have it. So I don't until I get to a point where I'm angry or stressed or frustrated.
Yep.
And then I snap on them.
Right.
So that's probably not what you should do, because I feel it's the vet's job to say, like, hey, your horse is too lame, don't go to the show.
Mm-hmm.
I will recommend, hey, I don't think this is a good idea, or I don't think it's going to be a good idea. And it happened the other way too. Like, the horse has a little abscess, and they're like, oh, we're not going to go to the show. And like, no, the abscess is gone. It's sound now. And like, no, we're going to skip it just to be safe. But you also have the opposite, where they're going no matter what you say. And I feel conflicted. It's for the horse's sake, we should be like, hey, no, don't do this. But we also, we have to make a living. On a litigious standpoint, we're probably not qualified to say, like, determine the horse is too lame to go to a show, but also the horse does need someone to stand up for it. So I'm not the best at telling clients what to do. I try to put it off on the vets. And hey, this is where we're at. I don't think the horse should go to a show, like I've mentioned it, but you're the one that has to tell them, don't go.
Yeah, I've actually had a few situations where I got frustrated with the vet because why aren't they telling them that it shouldn't go? But then that's the lesson I've learned over and over again. When I actually communicate with the vet, because these clients have the goal in mind, they will say and do whatever it takes to get their story, the one they want, told. Oh no, the horse has been fine. And then you talk to the vet, and the vet's like, I was there last week doing a lameness exam. I told them to give it a week off. So to be fair to the vets, sometimes I think they're fed different information too.
Yeah, and that's it. Like, clients lie. There's a horse I do right now, and it has some type of suspensory issue, I believe, behind. So we put shoes on, and I know the horse is on stall rest, and I'm there every 2 weeks, and I know the horse is being turned out. And the vet thinks it's on stall rest, and I have a feeling I'm going to get blamed at some point
because it's not
healing. And I'm like, I'm just waiting to see that vet. I'm like, hey, just so you know, that horse is getting turned out every day because they said it's not happy in the stall.
Yeah.
And you just sometimes it's just about biting your tongue, I think, and because they're going to do what they're going to do. And I think I learned that a lot at the racetrack. Like, you have to kind of set where your morals are at and where your lines are at, because they're going to do no matter what. And if you don't do it, the next guy's going to do it.
Yeah. Yep. I was going to say that.
It's the same with, you get a laminated horse and 100% it was your horse, you would put it down. Like, no questions asked, you'd put this horse down. But if you quit, they're not going to put that horse down. They're going to hire the next person or the next person to come and stretch this on. So you kind of ask yourself, am I going to do what's best for this horse to make him most comfortable in this situation?
Yeah.
Or are they just, because maybe the next guy's going to be, sometimes you know who the next guy is, and he's just going to slap a pair of shoes on, and that horse is going to be worse off. So you're trying to balance what's the best thing to do and what's the best for the horse, because the client's going to do what they're going to do a lot of the time, no matter what you say to them.
Yeah.
If you say, don't do it, I won't support this, you have to do that so you can sleep at night, but that's not going to fix things for the horse. They're going to find someone else to do it. And I think we struggle with that.
Yeah. And especially in those situations where you tell them that the information they don't want to hear, so they get a different farrier, and that farrier never contacts you to find out all the stuff that you tried to get to the place that you are, where they're at least a little bit better than the initial stage, right? And yes, I had one where it kept, every time she showed it, it had a very laminitic foot, and every time she showed it, it would go lame, and she could not figure it out. And I had the conversation with her several times that the horse's foot, the pedal bone, is not suspended properly, and every time you jump it, you're stretching the few lamina that are attached left. And another farrier came in and told her that he could get it sound for the show. and I lost the whole account over it. So this is part of the reason why I'm asking about what your experience has been. But at the same time, I talked to that vet, and that horse he's still not sound. But yeah, and I know how many different things I tried to get him to a point where he was at least comfortable out in the field.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now somebody's starting from ground zero.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just don't think that's fair to the horse.
Yeah, it's frustrating, and I wish I knew what the right thing to do was. And yeah, I have a similar horse. We tried everything, and some of it's my fault because I probably wasn't as communicative with the owner as I could have been, but also the vet didn't want to communicate with me, and we tried a bunch of stuff, and we got it as sound as it was going to get. I eventually ended up losing it, and that's fine, but we did try a lot of stuff. I could save you a lot of steps. To where we got it to. I am an idiot, but it was shot that way for a reason, and that's the way it was working.
Yep, for sure. So how do you balance it all? Every time I talk to you, you are doing something. I don't think you sleep very much. How do you manage to balance it all?
I don't. That's the trick, is don't balance it all.
Okay.
Just stay so busy that it feels like you're getting stuff done, but you're probably not. I like to stay busy and do a lot of things. I also decided this year that I wasn't going to let horseshoeing completely burn me out.
Yeah.
So I just did my best to not take things personally. So now it's the end of show season. Obviously, I'm sore and probably been physically burnt out, but mentally burnt out. I would say I'm the least burnt out I've been this time of year for a long time.
Okay.
Because I just, I'm going to do my best. I'm going to tell myself I'm doing my best. And if my best isn't good enough for them, then it's not going to work,
Right.
So it's not to say that I don't have bad days and don't come home in a bad mood because of work, but I really tried to not let it completely ruin me this year, because I've had that happen, and it doesn't make the situation better for working, for home, for anything. So I just, did my best to not take everything so personally. And it still happens. You get fired and you think about it once a day for the next 6 months to 10 years. But as long as I tell myself that I did my best, then that's how it's going to be.
Right.
And it's not like I'm going after a certain goal where I want to shoot like all the Olympic horses or something. So there's always work coming in or work available. So, there's a couple barns where I probably have a rough month or two if I lost it. But I also know, even if half my clients fired me tomorrow, within 2 months, I would still be making it an okay living. So I just keep telling myself that no matter what happens, it will be okay.
I think that is the thing that I know we do take what we're doing very personally because we do put so much into it. But at the same time, I think in the background, there is always that feeling of, if I lose this account or if I can't do these horses, then I'm going to go broke, or I'm not going to be able to afford what I afford now.
Yeah.
And once you get over that fear, I really feel like Andrew DeVisser helped me a lot in that department, in just figuring out your finances, having an emergency fund, all of those things. Now, the pressure, I mean, there's other pressures, but that one sort of running in the background, ambient pressure of the money is less so.
Yeah.
And you're right. You can pick up more clients. And every time you think that you have run out of horses in your area that you could potentially do, somebody else calls you.
Yeah. No, and that's a freeing feeling once you accept it. And a lot of the times those calls you get are not going to be horses you want to shoot for very long, but you can make a living no matter what. As long as you have your health, there's no point in going crazy over a client that has unrealistic expectations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And a lot of them do.
Yeah. I think it keeps coming back to, they are not dirt bikes. It isn't, isn't a quick fix. It's a living organism.
Yeah. And a lot of the times And this is another thing that I took away from the racetrack. If a client gets mad at you or a trainer gets mad at you, a lot of the time they're not mad at you, they're mad at the situation.
Yeah.
They're taking it out on you. But most of the professionals say their horse loses a shoe in a round and they can't finish the round, or they think that's why they did poorly, or they missed a show. Maybe the horse was supposed to go to a show in the States next week and something happened, and even though it wasn't really in your control, it involved the foot, so they're mad at you. In 3 days from now, they're over it.
Right.
So we need to get over it too.
Yeah. Let it slide off your back.
Yeah, and I think that's my appeal to clients is I tell them, like, I'm not going to be the best, I'm not the best, but I will try my best for you. I will work with you no matter what to find a solution. Whether it's a solution we come up with or I have to call 100 people tomorrow to come up with a solution, if there is a solution for your horse, I will do my best to find that, and I will keep trying until we find that solution.
Mm.
And because of that, I find, if a client is mad at you, it's not for very long.
Right. Well, and I do think that a lot of these situations where you're struggling, this just reminds me, as you're struggling with a mystery lameness that the vet hasn't been able to figure out, the number of times where just spending that money on the MRI,
Yeah,
just gives you a much better picture. You know what you're actually dealing with. You're not guessing.
yeah,
It shows that whatever has happened is not in your control. And
exactly.
and the number of times I've had clients who have tried everything with the vet have tens of thousands of dollars in vet bills when all it would have taken was a visit to the magnet.
Yeah,
And there is the rare occasion where even it doesn't tell you, but at least then it's not on you. And
Yeah.
I just find that so much every time I hear, oh, it's going to the magnet, it gives me such a sense of relief.
Yeah.
Because then you aren't guessing. Because, yeah.
and a lot of the time it's going to go there, and they're going to tell it to give them 6 months off or
Exactly.
whatever it
Yeah.
is.
Yep.
And it's like, well, now I've just bought myself 6 months of relief rather than 6 months of let's try this shoe, let's try that
Yeah.
shoe, let's try
Yeah.
this, and it's not going to work. If it was my horse, I'd probably just have given it the 6 months to begin with. But
Right,
they need
yeah.
that answer, so they go and they pay $3,500 or $4,000, whatever it costs for an MRI, and then they're like, hey, you have to give your horse 6 months off because this ligament is strained or there's bruising here. And yeah, it just tells them they have to give it time off. A lot of vets told me that was the good thing about pin firing is, of course, went to the racetrack, he would get shins. If they told the owner they had to give it 2 months off, the owner would get mad. But if they pin fired it and had to give it 2 months off, the owners were completely happy. So that's why they did it. The pin firing wasn't helping. It was just
Right. The time
somebody
off.
forced them into giving time off, and that was a solution they were happy with.
Huh. That's interesting. I guess in relation to injuries, what is your take on the flotation? Say a suspensory. Do you have more vets ask you for the egg bars or for the suspensory shoe? And which do you prefer? Which do you think works better?
I don't know. I would say I don't have a lot of. I only have one horse right now in egg bars, and it doesn't have a suspensory issue. It actually has string halts, but it's here on a lease, and that's what their vet said to keep it in for the string halt. So it's actually no, it's right. It has shivers, and yeah, they wanted it in egg bars for the shivers. I'm not sure how that helps, but
Yeah.
that is my only horse in egg bars, which having to make and fit egg bars to a horse with shivers is not always fun, but
No, that doesn't
That's-
sound like fun at all.
that's what they asked for. But most of my horses, I would say, that have that type of issue would be in like extended heels or something. I think it's tough because most horses are on synthetic surface now.
Yeah.
You don't really have to worry too much about keeping them up in the surface, I don't think. But I would say, yeah, most of them were just keeping them out of the surface. But I don't have any in. Actually, I do have one in a suspensory shoe, but I don't have a lot.
Well, that might mean you're doing something right, Mike.
It might be. It also might mean that the vet's like, that guy's an idiot. Just let him do what he wants. It'll take time to heal. So it's somewhere there. But yeah, I am lucky right now where I don't have a ton. I have some in bar shoes behind, but a bunch in extended heels right now. That seems to be a trend for anybody that's got a bit of a suspensory issue.
Yeah, I found that myself too. Quite a few people have asked for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's another good thing that came out of AFA certification is being able to make
Right.
extended heels.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's amazing how many times I've had to use a modification from that shoe board
Yeah.
and thank them for making me do so many just to get the shoe board right.
Yeah. Trailer's another one. Like maybe once every 3 years, a vet asks for a trailer.
Yep.
But because of that shoe board, yeah, you want a trailer? We'll put a trailer right there for you. So many good things, yeah, came out of that. Or square toe's another one. Like,
Yep.
that's something I really struggled with, and I don't do a lot of. But now if a vet says, hey, can we put square toes on? Then, yeah, I can actually do that. Whenever you get those weird prescriptions or non-common prescriptions, I guess, that AFA shoe board pays off every time.
Yep. I find the same thing for sure.
And I had to try at it a lot, so I got a lot of practice.
Likewise. I guess in that line of questioning, what's your most recent aha moment? Is there anything that has come up for you where you learned something new at a clinic or in working on a horse? You learned something that you wish you'd known years ago?
I mean, there's all kinds of ones. One of the most obvious one was with the frog support pads. And I don't even do a lot of frog support pads, but usually the base of the frog doesn't fit in your heels. So you check your shoes, but then all of a sudden you had to grind away some pad to make that frog pad fit.
Right.
And then it was Chris Teal. He's like, yeah, you just slide the shoe up until the heels fit in the frog pad instead of trying to grind little corners out of the frog pad.
Oh.
So I'm like, oh, I wish I'd thought of that a long time ago. It's incredibly simple. And I mean, you have to have a long enough pad and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, you get those narrow-footed horses, you just slide the pad further back. And as long as your tip of your frog still lines up, then
You're
I
golden.
mean, that was one of those like blatantly obvious things that I should have just, how did I not see this? But
Well, I'm just learning this today, so
Yeah.
I'm now in that camp along with you. That's
and
funny.
yeah, we don't do tons of them. We mostly do leather pads, but yeah, it is a handy little trick.
Yeah.
And then I feel I have this aha moment every year, but I've come to terms with it more the last couple years as this feet change season by season. So you come back to a horse and you know it looked good when you left, but it looks a mess. And then you have all this sole come out. You tighten up the foot a bunch, you might change the shoe size, and you're like, what's going on? Was I wrong then or am I wrong now? But I think
Right.
the feet need to be different at different times of years because we do have drastically different weather conditions in Ontario.
Yeah.
We might have a dry spell and then we go to just constant wet and mud, and then maybe we're going to get snow, maybe we're going to get mud all winter. It's just, and I think the feet change a lot from season to season, and sometimes you have to change your approach, but it doesn't, in my mind, I'm coming to terms that it doesn't necessarily mean I was doing it wrong before. I was just doing it right for that conditions, and now I've got to change it for these conditions.
Yeah, no, I'm always amazed at the farriers I run into who can do a reset without ever putting the foot down, and they do it every time. And I always think, like, there's no way I'd be able to nail that back on because sometimes, like you said, the feet change so drastically.
Yeah.
At some point, that would bite me in the butt for sure.
Yeah. And yeah, I find sometimes feet do well holding on to some extra sole and leaving some length. And then sometimes they seem to do well being a bit on the short side. And
Yep.
yeah, you're just going with the flow, but it doesn't necessarily mean you were completely wrong last time.
Right. No,
It might, but I've been telling myself it doesn't.
whatever helps us sleep at night.
Yeah. I'm like, no, the feet changed. I'm fine. That's why I changed sizes after 6 months.
Yep.
I wasn't shorting him. He's just,
Getting bigger.
yeah.
And then another thing along that same lines, what's a more recent addition to your professional life, like a tool or something like an app or whatever that has made life easier for you on the work side of things?
I'm pretty cheap right now, so I haven't bought any new fancy tools.
Oh, okay, you're always the
Um,
gadget guy. I'm always impressed with the stuff
Yeah, I
you
kind
add
of
on.
kept my setup. I can tell you, I did try some compound nippers. They were not for me. I had a pair. Actually, so Brian Hyoto has retired from horseshoeing and he had all his tools. He sent them to the OFA and he said, could you please sell these to people starting out? So we had an auction and we sold all his tools to new people starting out. They were the only ones allowed to bid. So a lot of people in the intro class got really good deals
That's
on
cool.
tools. There was anvils, and then Brian was really generous and donated that money back to the OFA. But in that group of tools was some compound nippers that my helper had bought, and then he decided he didn't want them, so I bought them off him. And I thought they would be really good for trimming drafts because I do a handful of drafts, but yeah, those were not for me. They're just a bit awkward looking. I think if someone held the foot for you, they might be good for really overgrown feet, but
Oh,
yeah, I
okay.
did not get along with them. But yeah, other than that, most of the stuff in my truck has been there for a while. Don't have any new fancy gadgets.
Okay. Well, I'll have to ask you again in 6 months.
Yeah, I have been thinking of buying a pair of the Luex nippers with the replaceable heads.
Yep, I thought of those myself.
Because nippers is something I struggle with.
Same.
Because, yeah, they're pricey, they wear out quickly. And Farriers are notoriously cheap about nippers, even though we use them on pretty much every horse.
Yeah,
They
exactly.
probably make us more money than any tool in our box, but we're very cheap about them.
Yeah, but I understand the frustration when you're paying top dollar and
Yeah.
the brands that in the past were the ones you could count on, you
Yeah.
can't anymore.
Yeah.
It's pretty unbelievable. They had a good formula, and then for some
Yeah.
reason, somebody switched it up. I don't know what happened
Yeah.
there, but yeah, not great.
And I am very hard on tools. Like,
Same.
we do some nice horses, but we do some trim accounts where it's like we've got 35, 40 horses to trim. Let's just get this done. So yeah, I'm constantly dropping my nippers on the ground in the mud. I do have a wire brush, but if we're going to do 40 trims, I'm not using my wire brush.
Right. You're just
And I
nipping right
know
through
some-
those rocks.
Yeah. Some people say, oh, I use an old dull pair of nippers and I bring a dull rasp, but I'm there. I want to get them done. So
Yeah, I find that
I
takes
don't-
longer, doesn't it?
yeah, but yeah, I am a bit hard on tools.
The final question, what do you do for fun? What do you do to relax?
When I'm not shoeing horses, sometimes I go shoe more horses, like our own horses.
Yep.
And
You've been
then,
doing a lot of shipping lately, too. Every time I talk to
yeah,
you,
well,
you're
my
driving horses.
family shows. My wife and daughter show a lot. I'll do that in the summertime, especially if they go to Palgrave or Angelstone for the week-long show, or for 2 weeks. They go down to Michigan a bit and Ohio. I will usually leave at 4 in the morning. I'll go to our place, pick up our horses, go to my wife's coach's place, pick up some of her horses, drive to Palgrave, which is probably an hour, 45 minutes from there, drop off the horses, unload the equipment, and then try to get back for 9 o'clock to start work. And I'm usually late for that. Traffic never cooperates.
I bet not.
So yeah, like I end up shipping their horses, and then I'll ship either horses from the barn or for my wife's coach, because that helps offset the ridiculous cost of showing, which actually so does some of my shoeing bills. So it is not a good deal for me at all. I seem to be shipping for free and shoeing for free
Right.
for other people to have fun. But yeah, I do that a lot. And then this year we did a lot of our own hay and stuff. And I know that sounds like awful work. And there were a couple times where you're out in the field and it's hot and you're like, why am I doing this? But I do enjoy just doing that kind of stuff, like tinkering around, fixing stuff, making stuff. The hay was fun. You go and run some equipment and do all that.
Mhm.
But I like to stay busy. And then that's part of my burnout strategy. If you're always busy and doing stuff, then you can't think about how bad stuff might be going on.
That's a distraction.
Yeah, you just work until you're exhausted and then lie on the couch until you fall asleep watching TV. It's a good
And then
It's a good
wash,
balance.
rinse, and repeat the
Yeah.
next day.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, sometimes I'll be driving and I'll be, God, why am I so irritated? And it's because the radio's not on and I have no distraction. And I'm thinking too much about all the stuff that should be bothering me.
right. Oh, well, I'm not sure that's recommended by most doctors, but it is a technique for sure.
But yeah, that seems to be my hobby, is staying busy.
Yeah, no kidding. Well, in that vein, I really appreciate you taking the time to do this. And
No, I appreciate you calling. It was fun.
yeah, and yeah, this will be good for everybody to hear what's going on with the OFA and
Yeah.
you in general.
Yeah, this was a lot of fun. It's always good to talk to you. You can call me anytime.
Yeah, and that goes both ways, Mike.
Awesome.
All right, take care, bud. Have a good
Thank
Sunday.
you. You too. Enjoy your day.
Thanks. Take care.
Talk to you later.
Yeah,
Bye.
bye.